All right, so we got the bike loaded up this morning, and it's time to get the hell out of Dodge. So we're pulling out of Dodge City this morning. We are on our way to St. Robert, Missouri, where we hope to be by probably around 5 o'clock or so this evening, covering just a tad bit more than 500 miles, and most of it will be off the interstate, much like yesterday. In fact, we didn't get on the interstate at all yesterday, but the last little stretch of it, I think we'll probably hop on the interstate a little bit to knock out a few miles. Wyatt Earp Boulevard. They got the sprinklers running out everywhere this morning. Stopped in Stafford, Kansas to fill up the fuel tank. I wasn't sure if I could make it to Hutchinson or not. Didn't really want to chance it. And the highest octane they had was 89. That's the second time on this trip I haven't been able to put 91 or above in the bike. The other time was up in Montana, where the best they had was 87, but at least it was ethanol free. So I haven't really noticed, didn't really notice much of a performance difference when we put that in. I doubt I'm going to notice much right now, especially since we're just kind of cruising state routes. Kristen and I stopped off in Nevada, Missouri. Yeah, Nevada is the city, Missouri is the state. To grab some lunch there at a little place called 54 Cafe. It's pretty good food, and I think our total bill is like 16 bucks or something, so it's tough to complain about. And then we rode up the road a little ways and got some fuel there in El Dorado Springs. Only got about 100 miles left today before we end up in St. Robert, Missouri. Weather's been great. It's been upper 60s, low 70s all day. And unlike last time I rode through Kansas 2 years ago, the wind has not been bad at all. So aside from the roads being sort of straight, and that's come to be expected in Kansas, it's been a pretty decent ride so far today.
So Kristen and I just got into St. Robert, Missouri. We rode from western Kansas all the way to here today. It was right around 500 miles. It was pretty much just a straight riding day. Fortunately, only, I think it was the last 33 miles were interstate. The rest of it was state routes. Great weather, excellent ride. At least as excellent as it can be through Kansas and Missouri because it's pretty flat and pretty straight. But we did get a few curves thrown in there. We're not done for the day though. Once we get showered up, we're going about a half mile down the road to go check out something that I think is going to be kind of fun. And then we'll get some dinner and get back on the road again tomorrow.
Welcome to Uranus.
So we got Butterfinger fudge, Heath bar fudge, peanut butter fudge, and
chocolate caramel.
I had these two. They're awesome. Try this one. That one's really good too.
I like these two better so far.
Having some drinks and probably some dinner here. Chicken bones. All we got in Uranus was this sign and some fudge. All right, so pretty good time over at Uranus Fudge Factory. It was pretty cool to visit. Fudge was awesome. Food at the restaurant was actually pretty good too. Just kind of like a fun, quirky place. Hope you guys got a kick out of that. We had a lot of fun there. Got a decent amount of riding to do tomorrow to end up in somewhere in Ohio. And then one more day after that to get back to West by God. See you guys in the morning. And the one thing you guys don't know is Kristen has a drinking problem, so every time we go somewhere, we gotta load up on whiskey and mixers. This is our hotel room home. Not every night, just
most of them.
little foggy out this morning. I think we're gonna get a slightly later start than I originally planned. The interstate is probably no less than 150 yards away. I can hear the cars going by, but you can't see a thing. We're waiting on the fog to clear off. We're gonna eat some breakfast. Breakfast was excellent, and looks like by the time we get dressed, get the bike loaded up, fog ought to be decent enough to ride in and get started today. All right, so we're pulling out of Uranus this morning, and now we're gonna pound the slab for a while. That's one of the gayest things I've ever said. Anyway, we are gonna have to hit the interstate a decent amount today. I had originally intended to head down to Kentucky, but they're calling for a decent amount of rain. And then I thought about trying to cut up some state routes to get to Dayton, Ohio. That's going to put us right on the edge of rain, where if we just stay on the interstate, we should stay north of it most of the day. And, you know, interstate riding's not the most fun, but we do have a decent amount of mileage to cover, and I don't really want to ride in the rain, especially considering it's not even 56 degrees out this morning. Just had some lunch there at Fazoli's. Good cheap lunch, like 10 bucks for both of us. It was ridiculous. Really good food too. Anyway, we're here in Terre Haute, Indiana. Getting ready to hop back on the interstate. Probably only going to go about 40-50 miles, and I'll eventually have to stop and get some gas. But man, it has turned out to be a super nice day outside. Just made it into Dayton, Ohio. Even though it looked like rain the last 80-90 miles, it never actually did anything. We actually stayed off this exit and off this very exact same road last year at a Fairfield Inn and Suites that we looked up. Thought about staying at it again, but it's changed ownership. So we're actually going to stay, I don't know, it's probably like a quarter mile down the road at a Hampton Inn for the night. We really liked staying in this area last year because there's so many different food choices around. And it's just, you know, it's just convenient. I think we ate at Hooters last year. I'll have to go back and look at the old video footage to see if I put that in there. So this hotel here on the right, Red Lion, like I said, it was a Fairfield Inn and Suites last year. They changed ownership. It was okay. We're staying, yeah, real far away here at the Hampton Inn. Oh, look, it rained. Kristen was still hungry, so we had to get more food. Kristen is super addicted to some weird detective game on her iPhone.
One more.
I got it.
I hate when I have to do reshapes. All right, excellent dinner and drinks tonight at Hooters in Dayton. Our waitress Shelby was very attentive and awesome.
pretty sure that was a hooker, but the table behind us there with the old guy, she kind of disappeared. She was very dirty. Anyway, it is freezing ass cold out here tonight. We are headed back to the hotel to get some sleep. We're not snuggling.
Snuggling.
I'm sleeping in my bed. You're sleeping in your bed. We're not married yet. And we're headed back to West by God, Virginia tomorrow morning. Day 16, final day of the trip. Time to get home.
So we're pulling out of Dayton, Ohio this morning. We have a little over 400 miles to cover today to get back home. The route is going to be basically the same as it was last year, leaving Dayton, Ohio. I'm going to hop on I-70 over to Columbus, and then we'll drop down into Athens. And then basically from Athens home, we will take Route 50 the entire way. It's basically the same way we took leaving to come out west as well. I normally don't like to backtrack, but due to some of the remnants left over from Hurricane Harvey, it left some rain a little bit further south where I was going to come through Kentucky, and just didn't really feel like riding through the rain, so we'll backtrack. Route 50 is a fun road to ride from Athens back home anyway, so looks like it's going to be another good day weather-wise. Looking forward to seeing some of the rest of the family when we get home. FaceTime Noah the last couple of nights, and I think he's excited for us to get back. So let's get on with this ride today. So that is it for interstate riding today. Just the first 80 miles. The rest of the day, I mean, I know this kind of looks like an interstate, it's a highway, but it's not an interstate, and eventually it does drop down just a 2-lane road and we start to go through some smaller towns, but it's a much better ride than taking I-70 all the way home, which I pretty much refuse to do. So hoping these clouds break up here in a little bit and we get a little sunlight. I guess we'll see, but we've got maybe a little over an hour to get to Athens, Ohio, and then I'll jump on Route 50 and pretty much ride it the rest of the way home, at least within a few miles of the house. Just stopped in Athens, Ohio to fill up the tank. And just for my friend Christy, I will mention that Athens, Ohio is home of Ohio University and the Bobcats. Back to my home state of West Virginia. Made it to Clarksburg, West Virginia. Lunch at Permane Brothers. I'm gonna give this Permane Brothers chili a try. It looks pretty good. It smells pretty good. The salad was really good too. Sorry I forgot to show you that. Damn good lunch there at Permane Brothers. Got about 3 hours left to get home. The only thing that stands between us and getting home right now is one of the most fun motorcycle roads I could possibly think of to ride this last stretch. So I'm going to kick the bike probably over into the suspension into sport mode and just have a lot of fun these last 3 hours as we make our way back. probably make it home on this tank, but I don't want to bring it home on fumes, so one last fill up. All right. Okay. Wow, it is tough to believe it's been 16 days ago since we took off on our trip. We have been all the way to the West Coast. We've covered over 7,000 miles of just awesome places here in the U.S. And we're very fortunate to be able to do this, and I'm happy that it turned out as well as it did. I mean, I just had an unbelievable time. I hope you guys enjoyed the video series. Unfortunately, you know, I hate to break it to you, it pales in comparison to the real thing. But all the same, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this gives you a little bit of inspiration in some way, that you decide to put your own motorcycle trip together, or cross-country trip, or just something. Like, go out and enjoy your bike and go see the wonderful sights here in the U.S., you know, that we have to offer. Or if you live, you know, I know a lot of you live overseas, you know, get on that bike and go rack up the miles or kilometers, depending on where you live. Man, has it been a great time. You know, with as much fun as we had and all the great places we got to visit, it's always good to come home. It's great to be back in West Virginia. I love the roads here. I love the scenery. It's probably my favorite place in the United States, but all those other places we went to check out were pretty damn cool too. And that's it. We're home. I'll have to total up the mileage, see how much we did. The cat doesn't seem very happy that I'm home. Come here. This guy over here seems pretty happy that I'm home. Maybe you're just more excited to get out of your pen. What are you doing? Look who showed up. And Louie. You got a blanket? Yeah. That's cool.